Heineke, dude can play whenever he gets a chance. He kind of shows out from a fantasy perspective for sure. This Washington offensive line has been really, really solid. I think they have the second or third lowest adjusted sack rate in football. No pass rush from Atlanta. Like you mentioned, even worse secondary. Heineke is mobile. He's a pretty good athlete. He'll take off and run a little bit. He's a candidate to score with his legs. He's got the connection with McLaurin, clearly, right? McLaurin, every quarterback has the connection with McLaurin. He's just that good. I think he'll roast this Atlanta secondary. I like this game on turf for McLaurin, right? He's a turf kind of player, just an explosive athlete. You put him one-on-one on turf, and he's going to win that route, right? The majority of the time against the people guarding him. So I think McLaurin's an awesome play, and I like Washington to put up points. And then Washington's defense, which we expected to be good coming into the year, most people did, myself included, has been awful in almost every metric. I do expect them to improve, but how much? I think they're probably a middle of the pack defense, maybe at best at this point, certainly not elite. I don't trust the Atlanta offense. Matt Ryan, I think, is kind of in that Ben Roethlisberger boat where it's just hard to trust it. So I don't want to go in on Atlanta kind of in a full game stack mode. But yeah, Kyle Pitts I think is a good play here. I don't mind Ridley. Maybe even CPAT if you're going with Washington. But
if you have the trust in Taylor Heineke playing him, you have to at least believe that Matt Ryan is playable. You don't have to play Matt Ryan, but you have to believe he's playable at that price tag because you're kind of saying that you think Matt Ryan can score and the Atlanta offense can score enough to keep it a somewhat back and forth game, if that makes sense for everyone.
This is one where I think, JSU, that I'm kind of putting, I guess, my faith a little bit in the odds on this one, right? Where they're saying this game is supposed to be close, 48 total, and I don't have faith in Matt Ryan, but Matt Ryan's been getting it done for a long, long time. So he just needs one decent game, and you're fine with the Heineke play.
Vegas might. Vegas seems to have a little faith in him, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
1 point spread. Yeah.
What's going on, everyone? AP over here at Rump Your Sports, bringing to you once again the Strokes Gain Show. We're back in the PGA streets. I got my two-man guys. We got Snyder. We got Hoop. Hoop, what's going on, my man? How was your week last week?
Yeah, not too much. It's kind of a fun event. I had a couple decent teams going into Sunday, a couple 6 out of 6s. They kind of fell a little bit short. They're in the higher stake stuff. So, 6 of 6 was good enough for decent cash, but, missed out on the top prizes. Didn't have any Sammy Burns. It sucks with the Sammy Burns situation because that was our boy. That's been our boy since RPS started, Sammy Burns, but we were playing Sammy Burns when he was like 6K and 7K. Now, last week, if you wanted to play Sammy Burns, you had to pay the full frontal price tag. It was like 11K. So, I was off of him. I think, I know, AP, you were as well. It's nice to see him get the win. But unfortunately it punishes the pocketbook a little bit, but the event was fun. A lot of the guys that we were on pretty heavy did well. I had a lot of Charlie Hoffman. He made the cut and, middle. It seems like a lot of the guys I was high on, they made the cut and then just like a middling performance. Mito, same thing, really high on Mito, made the cut, but just didn't do much damage on the weekend. You really had to go super low last week because birdies were just plentiful and everyone was draining them. So fun event. I don't regret any of the moves I was on, pretty close to like a break even week, but this is a pretty nice field for swing season. So I'm looking forward to this one here this week, another birdie fest, obviously, but should be a good one with this field that we have here.
Yeah, it was, happy for Sam Burns. Obviously, he had a phenomenal week, phenomenal win. Maybe, a little spiteful for not, being included in the Ryder Cup team. Who knows? We got another narrative like that this week with Patrick Reed, a guy that we don't typically like at all. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys have to say about him. Snyder, what's going on, my friend? How was your week last week?
Hey, how's it going? It's good. I had some decent teams last week. I didn't play too much volume in PGA last week, but I had a couple decent teams out of the 3 or 4 that I played. Nothing. I didn't have any Sammy Burns, so that limited my upside there and capped me off. But it was an all right break even week. I didn't get to watch too much of the golf as I was in Denver for most of the weekend, but it was fun.
Yeah. I saw that you're at the Broncos game, Ravens game. Good times. If you haven't yet hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us to keep this free for each and all of you every week. If you don't know where the subscribe button's at, it's a red button, bottom right-hand corner. Go ahead, click that real quick. We'll get that out of the way. We had a few phenomenal wins recently. A couple of them came last night in Showdown. Matt S, shout out to this guy. He chopped the Millie Maker with 3 other guys for $305K. Incredible stuff. I know we were talking about, I think, what's his Parham? We all call him Parham, the tight end number 2 for the Chargers. Got that first touchdown. And you knew right away he was going to be optimal. Like, if you had him, you were feeling really good because you knew all the other pieces were going to get there. And you knew it was going to be very hard for anyone else to outscore him. So incredible stuff. K&B Squid, $2,600 Showdown. Nice win there. Jay Bones, $5K winner. Just a Joe to you, $240K winner on the main slate NFL. Incredible stuff. If you're not a member, we do have a code that's still going, RPS Heater 25, RPS Heater 25. That's going to get you 25% off your first payment over here at Rumpier Sports. NBA is right around the corner, guys and gals. You got to get in. We've been working on planning out NBA content today, actually. Hoop and I, Big T, we're all on a call. We're planning out NBA. So we are getting ready for the season. Things are going to be very, very nice. PGA this week. We're in Vegas, baby. I would love to go to this event. I don't even know if I'd make it because I'd be in Vegas. I'd be gambling, having a good time. We're at TPC Summerlin. Snyder, tell us a little bit about the course this week.
Yeah, we're here at Summerlin. It's a par 71 that's going to measure 7,255 yards. This is going to be one of the stronger fields as 11 of the top 25 golfers will be teeing it up here. It's a great course setup for them as the golfers will be playing through some canyons, numerous water features, some elevation changes. This has generally been a birdie fest in the past as the winning score has been -20 or better for the most part. Golfers will see average size bent grass greens here with speeds in that 11 to 12 range on the stent meter. Quite a few bunkers here, as there will be 92 bunkers that litter the property here that will ultimately give a boost to some of these golfers that can scramble well. 4 holes will play within water. Water will be in play on 4 of the holes. 2 of the biggest stats I'll be targeting here is strokes gained approach and greens in regulation. Those have been the predominant stats over the past years. They rank higher here than normal PGA events. Some other stats I'll be looking at as well is birdies are better gained, fairways gained, par 4, 400 to 450. The majority of those will be in that range, and putting, mainly looking at emphasizing bent grass putting.
Yeah, I mean, I remember vividly. Party Marty was a guy that we were on last year. He got the win here. I remember it being a putting fest. The guy's putter was on fire. I believe he was at a playoff with my other guy, Matt Wolf. Just a phenomenal event, and I remember it being one of my better weeks. So hopefully we can repeat and have another big week. How we do it here each and every week, we're going to go tier by tier. We're going to talk about the best plays. We're going to maybe talk about some fades too. I have a lot of fades that I will be on this week. Some of them I think are pretty bold. One of them I think is pretty obvious. He's a big name, but I have to think that we're all going to be fading him. Maybe not Snyder, to be determined. But Hoop, I'm going to kick it over to you first. Let's talk about this 10K and up range.
Yeah, so we've got 6 guys up here, and like you said, I think there's some pretty obvious fades. I mean, Brooks Koepka, we love him, but 11-1 in Vegas. I can't imagine that Brooks is going to be 100% into this one. And these are the events where we typically fade him at. I'm gonna be off him. I don't think the ownership on him is going to be all that high. So if you do like him, I mean, you're not going to have to play a ton to get way over the field, but definitely not for me. Sam Burns, like I said in the opening, I was out on him last week. He punished me. I just can't go back to him this week at basically the same price tag, much stronger field this week too. So I think Burns is another guy to cross off the list, or at least I will be personally not playing him. And then it gets a little bit difficult because I like these next 4 guys quite a bit: Hovland, Answer, Webb, and Zalatoris. 10-6 for Hovland, 10-4 for Answer, 10-2 for Webb, and 10-1 for Zalatoris. Zalatoris has just been super steady, and especially, in events like this, not the fully loaded fields. I think he's a strong play. Webb, up and down year last year. We were on him at some points. He had the injury at one point. I think he had a COVID thing at one point too. So really like a roller coaster season for him. I think he's, we talked about it last week with Matthew Wolfer. I said, I think a fresh start could be good for him. It obviously worked out for Wolf last week. I think the same can be said this week for a guy like Webb Simpson, kind of just a fresh start here. One of the best ball strikers on tour, a very solid putter. And that's what you kind of need at this course. So I really like Webb. Really, really like Answer too. I mean, this course sets up perfectly for Answer. He's shown the upside last season where he picked up at least 1 win. I know maybe 2. I can't remember, but he had some solid finishes all last year. And of course, it just sets up perfectly for him. And then Hovland, I have a ton of interest in at 10-6. Now I feel between these 4, I can probably only play 3. So it's going to be difficult. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play all 4. If I can fit them in. I mean, there are a lot of guys in the 6K range that I have interest in that we'll talk about later, but if I can fit them all in, I will. If I have to make a cut, I'm going to lean on you guys to tell me which one to be off. But as it stands now, I like all 4 of these guys quite a bit.
I'm a donkey and I was muted. Man, usually good about that. Yeah, really interesting range. I agree with you there. I do think we'll be able to help you make a few cuts. I'm cutting BK as well. But Snyder, talk to me about the golfers here in this range, 10K and up.
Yeah, I mean, Brooks Koepka here. I mean, it's hard to tell when he's motivated outside of these majors to play, let alone when he's priced over 11K and in Vegas. I mean, that makes for a pretty easy fade for me in this range. I mean, Sammy Burns priced all the way up after that win. I couldn't imagine clicking his name with the field structure here and the field, the other guys priced below him. Victor Hovland, he's kind of priced up, I feel, here for his upside, and I kind of worry about his around the green game here for me. So I think that'll be the guy that I fade in this range, as I do agree with Hoop, and I like these guys below him. Abe Answer, he loves playing on bent grass. He leads the field in strokes gained putting bent grass by a wide margin. He's got 4 top 10s in his last 6 events, and he owns a couple top 5 finishes here as well. I think the course sets up great for his game. I mean, he's going to hit a lot of fairways. He's going to hit a lot of greens. I think this is going to be another chance for him to get another win. We saw that at the WGC, and I think this is a chance for him to get a second one. Webb, I think he's a course horse here. Leads the field in strokes gained total by 4 strokes, gaining 32 strokes in his last 5 appearances here. Definitely think he makes sense here, but I think he's going to be the third of my guys here, as I like Will Zalatoris a little better. He finished 5th here in his first appearance last year. He started off this season with a pair of top 15s too, so I really like how his game is trending, and his putting has actually gotten a lot better here, as he's gained in 3 of his last 4 events, and that putter has really held him back like the majority of last year. I mean, he was great ball striking and approach and whatnot, but that putter just always seemed to let him go. So if he can find something there, I think the upside for that first win of his is definitely here on the horizon. He's gaining strokes across the board in his last 5 events. So I'm definitely looking at Answer and Zalatoris are going to be my top 2 guys here, followed by Webb.
Yeah, I like that. Out of the comments, my favorite thing I heard was Hoop and talking about a fresh start with Webb Simpson. I agree 100%. I love that term right there. What Webb needs is a fresh start. I mean, this guy, he's very good. He's one of the best in this field. I think what he needs to do is take advantage of these shorter tracks. He's not the longest hitter. He needs to take advantage of these courses where he has a ton of experience at, which he does, and take advantage of tracks where it's all about, hitting fairways, hitting greens, and it's a putting contest. We all know that he's one of the best putters in the world. Just looking back at the Fortinet champ, the putt, and then the BMW, Northern Trust, Wyndham, the putting is good. So I think he is very close to a win. He's actually the guy I have right now for members out there in the playbook. I have him ranked number 1 overall in these kind of elite tier, expensive tier plays. I think Webb's going to win this week. And I just think I want to get as much, as far overweight on him as possible. The guys I'm cutting, I'm not playing Brooks Koepka here. I'm going to be following him and Jenna on Instagram. I think that's going to be a lot more fun than watching him play golf. I don't know. That's probably going to be common. If you want to play a really low Brooks Koepka, this is going to be the week, because I feel like a lot of people are going to be off of him at that price, off the Ryder Cup. So many different narratives. Sam Burns, here's another thing. Is the guy one of the best golfers in this field? Yeah, he won last week. However, he's typically a monster off the tee. That weapon's taken away. It's all about hitting fairways here. We saw it with Party Marty winning last year. He's not a big hitter at all. And then the other thing with Sam Burns is this dude's getting a $1 million wire hitting his account this week, and he's going to be in Vegas and he's a young guy having fun with his wife or fiance, I forget. I'm not going to be playing him. For me, it's Answer, Simpson, and Zalatoris. I'm actually off Hovland here. I think Snyder, you mentioned it. Just the around the green game. I don't know if I really want to pay a premium for Hovland here, and that's what we're doing. And he has no history, and he's another young guy, first time going to Vegas. I mean, Hovland seems like a guy that would like to get down and have a good time. So I'm going to stick with Answer, Webb, and Zalatoris. My favorite is Webb Simpson down in this range. Let's go down to the 9K range. Hoop, let me kick it back over to you. Talk to me about this range.
Yeah, well, tough range for me to really sort out. You look at Louis at the top, and it's probably a course that does fit him pretty well. But, he had that real strong run late last year, then kind of fell off a little bit. He's fully priced to me at 9.9. Probably going to be off of him unless, you guys have a strong conviction and maybe convince me otherwise. Scotty Scheffler, I do like at 9.7. I think he can work off that momentum at the Ryder Cup and build on a nice start here to the season. So Scheffler, I have some interest in. Man, Hideki used to be my boy. I was always on him. I don't know if I'm going to be on him this week at 9.5. I really like Harris English at 9.3. I think he's going to continue to, great season last year. I think he has another good one. Sungjae, where did Sungjae finish last week? Was it, I know he made the cut. I don't think he did much on the weekend. I think another one of those middling performances that we talked about, but he's 9.2 this week. I have a little bit of interest in him. And then Siwoo Kim, not a Siwoo Kim guy. And man, he's sandwiched between some really good golfers this week. I think there's a lot of guys really good above him and a lot of guys really good below him. So I will most likely I'm definitely going to be off Siwoo. But yeah, the guys I'm looking at in this range, Scheffler, I think makes a lot of sense. I think he can kind of build on that Ryder Cup momentum. Harris English, I like. And then Sungjae at 9.2, I have interest in. Probably going to fade those other guys. And it's scary. I mean, these are some guys where the course does set up well for them. This course does set up well for Louis. Probably sets up well for Matsuyama as well. But I don't think I'm going to be getting there this week. So that's kind of where I'm at in this range.
You got me nervous, Hoop. I'm we're locked arm in arm in some of these plays We're a little bit different this week, but I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Snyder, talk to me about the 9K range.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Hoop, and I'm probably going to be off Louis here. I think that price is a little too steep for him. I do like Scotty Scheffler quite a bit, though. He's coming off that strong Ryder Cup performance. He went 2-0-1, and he went head-to-head with Rahm on the singles match and took him down. That's got to be big momentum builder for him. He's going to ride that confidence into this. I think this track is going to set up really well for him, too, and I can definitely see him finding the winner's circle here. I do think he's going to win for sure this season, so, why not start off here? Hideki, I do kind of like Hideki in this price range. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to him or not, but he's been a great golfer in the fall. He's got 20 top 25s, including 11 top 5s and 27 fall starts for him. He's top 10 in strokes gained tee to green and birdies are better over the last 24 rounds, so I'm going to have to look into him a little bit more, but I definitely have some interest there. Sungjae did shoot 4 rounds under par last week, but he was a little off with the irons, which is kind of surprising after he'd gained strokes approach in 8 of his last 9 rounds before that. He's got a couple of top 15 finishes here, so I think he could be solid here as well. So I'll be looking to him. I do kind of like Siwoo Kim here. I know Hoop said that he was probably off him, but he's begun this season really strong with finishes of 8th and 11th last week at the Sanderson Farms. He's gained 9.8 and 7.7 strokes total in those 2 events. He comes to this course where he's had really good success too. He's had finishes of 8th, 55th, and 15th in his last 3 appearances here. So I think he can ride that momentum into a familiar place here. I don't think the bright lights of Vegas is going to get in his way too much here. So my top 2 guys in this range is going to be Scotty Scheffler and then Siwoo Kim.
Yeah, I like that. For me, I love Louis. Like when I think about a guy, a golfer who definitely has win upside and equity here, Louis Oosthuizen, just not the longest a hitter. He's good at finding fairways. He's good at finding greens, and he's a good putter right now. His putter's been very hot, and he played here last year. He got 19th. So, and we all know how he finished last season. I mean, he was definitely one of the hottest golfers on tour. So, I'll definitely have interest in Louis here. I actually have interest in Hideki and Sungjae and Siwoo. Those guys, all good ball strikers, all have good course history here. So Hideki's played it. He's made the cut here 2 of his last 3 times with a T16 and a T10. Missed the cut last year. Sungjae he has a T15 and a T13. So obviously he likes this track. And ever like 3rd place at the BMW, solid finish at the Tour Championship. Even Northern Trust, he played well. He got, he got a little bit under his belt. T31 at Sanderson Farms. This is a guy that he's pretty transparent when he's in good form. So I definitely have interest in Sungjae. The putter looks like it's trending upwards. That's my only concern with him. Siwoo, though, I think is a guy that we all have to at least take a look at. I like this. Something's changed with this game. So like T8, T11, T29, his last 3 events. T2 at the Wyndham going on before that. He missed the cut at the Northern Trust. But his last 2 events of this year, he's been almost inside the top 10. Factor that into a T8 here last year, and then a T15 and 19, T25 and 16, and a T55 in 2020. We can overlook that one. But a guy who's made the cut here 4 times, who's playing really well, the putter's trending up. He's a guy that could win here for sure. I'm not a Siwoo guy. I don't play him that often, but he checks a lot of boxes for me this week. So he's going to be in my player pool. Man, it's tough for me to give kind of my favorites because it pains me also to say I'm going to be off Harris English. I love Harris English, but I'm going to be off him. I'm going to be off Scotty Scheffler as well because you got to make cuts. I got to say my kind of 1 and 2 are I'm going to go Siwoo and I'm going to go Louis. Hoop, give me your kind of 1 and 2 going back to this range.
I think I'm going to go number 1, Harris English, and then I'm going to go number 2, Scotty Scheffler. It's a rare week though where you and I are not aligning. So one of us is going to do well, and one of
just
us
in
is
this range. Just in this range, man. I'm confident. I mean, last week I was wrong. I think it was who was I off of? I'm on him this week. We'll get to Tringali. He's in the next range. He's like one of the best plays on the board. But Snyder, you're 1 and 2, and then take us into the 8K range.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Scotty Scheffler as my number 1, and then I'm gonna go Siwoo as my number 2. And then
can I ask you guys one question about Scheffler, real quick? I mean, obviously he's a different player now, but he missed the cut in 21, and he finished T74 in 2020. Like, so he's played it twice. I mean, we don't know what's going on down there, but I look at that. It's kind of outside of his normal, finishes here. You look at the environment. Does Vegas get into him, or maybe it's third time's a charm, and he's just going to absolutely smash this course?
Yeah, I mean, I personally just think different golfer at this point, and more confidence, and I mean, a little concerning, but like I said, like he's way different now than he was a year ago and 2 years ago, obviously. So that's kind of my thoughts on it.
I gotcha. All right, Snyder, take us into that 8K range.
Yeah, this 8K range is pretty interesting here, as there's quite a few guys I have some conviction on. Paul Casey, he's a tough guy for me to figure out. I mean, it's either he's like finishing inside the top 10 or he's finishing inside that top 30 to top 50 window, and he misses a value there for you. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with him quite yet, but his last 2 starts leads me to fading him, as he's went 38th and 64th. So I think that's where I'm at right now on him. Corey Connors, he's a guy, a great ball striker, finds the fairway well off the tee box, but it always comes down to that putter with him, and I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to get to him as well, because I like a couple guys below him a lot better. Starting off with Jason Kokrak, he finished off the season strong with a couple finishes inside that top 15, and he won the CJ Cup here last year in Vegas. So he's got that winning upside here in Vegas. He likes the town. He does well here. Patrick Reed's another guy. He's in that narrative. He's looking to prove all these people wrong, that he should have been on that Ryder Cup team. Captain America, he'll be looking to come out strong here. He's got great iron game. The short game is excellent too, and I think that short game could really help set him apart here. So I like him. Adam Scott, I feel like Scott's a little underpriced here. He should be very familiar with this course. He's got strong ties to Las Vegas here, so the city shouldn't get to him as much. And I like targeting him in this price range in these weaker type fields. Charlie Hoffman's another guy here. He's got great correlation with Las Vegas. He's made 17 of his last 18 cuts, so he's been very consistent going forward. Pretty safe guy at the bottom of this range, and he'll be another guy I'm looking to fill up my rosters with if I have the salary left.
Oh man, don't talk to me about Adam Scott. I can't do that. Oh, I hear you though. 8K range. I think this is going to be a range that we're more so locked arm in arm, but we'll see. Talk to me about this 8K range.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of guys I typically like to play, but you can't play everyone, and I'm going to have to make some cuts. Paul Casey, I love playing Paul Casey. He's sitting at 8-9, coming off of a rough Ryder Cup. I mean, I guess everyone on the European side had a rough Ryder Cup besides John Rahm, obviously. But 8-9, oh man, I don't know. Probably going to have to be off of him. Connors is another guy I'm still on the fence on. I mean, the course should set up well for him. It really, like Snyder said, it comes down to whether or not he makes the putts. But I definitely like Kokrak. I'm going to be on Kokrak for sure. I do agree with Patrick Reed as well. I mean, I think he does have a chip on his shoulder, although I don't think he has much of an argument for saying or thinking that he deserved to be on the Ryder Cup team, because he didn't. I think everyone that made the team deserved to be on the team. And to me, he was clearly the guy that should have been outside looking in. Like, he didn't deserve to be on that team. I get, the Captain America thing and all that crap, but he just didn't deserve to be on the team. But I will play him this week, and I do think he's going to be motivated to play well. And it's really good price tag. I mean, the 8-6 for him in this field, I mean, it's decent up top, but it's not the strongest of fields. He could easily be in that 9K range. I mean, there's no reason why he shouldn't be. So at 8-6, I think he's a good value. Tringali, I play just about every week, and usually treats us well. And I'm going to be with him again this week at 8-5. Adam Scott, I'll probably just fade him because I have to fade some guys here. Then Charlie Hoffman. Yeah, I do like Hoffman. I just keep playing Hoffman. He keeps making cuts, and he doesn't get in the winner circle all that often, but he's 8.1K. We just need him to make a cut and have a decent finish. And, we'll take it. And I think he gets that here. Probably won't play Neiman. Wolf, I mean, I know he was successful here last time out, and he was solid last week, but really the course doesn't set up that well for him. So I'll be off of him, but a lot of good plays here. I might have to make some additional cuts too, but it's gonna be tough at the top with Casey and Connors. I like those guys. I just don't know if I'm gonna have room on the bus for them this week.
Yeah, I got you. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're not going to be locked arm in arm in this range because I love Wolf this week. Paul K. So one thing when I went through my process, which is looking at the course, looking at kind of who fits well here, looking at Vegas odds, different things, and then dialing into course history, recent form, all of that. Initially, Corey Connors is a guy I'm like, he should kill this course. He should dominate. He's one of the best ball strikers. He's one of the best, at finding fairways. A lot of guys have to club down at this track. However, T68 and a cut in 18 and 19. I will say the same argument could be made that it was made for Scotty Scheffler. Corey Connors is a different golfer now. So you got to keep that in mind. But the one thing I think it does is emphasize that you got to be a decent putter here. It's not all ball strikers. You want guys who can make cuts. So I do have Connors ranked pretty highly in this range for me right now. But I'm actually like Tringali, a guy, I faded last week. I was wrong to fade him. His putter is phenomenal right now. His game is just really good. I mean, he's a good cut maker. He feels like one of the safer plays in this range. And ownership-wise, he should be one of the more popular plays. But what I'm seeing is ownership kind of spread out because I think when you go to make some builds, you almost want, I could see if someone's out there making 8 builds, they're going to be like, oh, I want a little bit of this guy. I want a little bit of that guy. Oh, I got to get this guy in. Oh, I got to play the Patrick Reed narrative. So ownership is going to spread out a little bit. If you want to keep things simple in this range this week, Tringali is a guy that very good course fit, in great form. He checks a lot of boxes, and he's definitely one of my favorite plays in this range. Matt Wolff, something about this course. I mean, I know he was a California kid. Maybe he got out to Vegas, more often than we know, but a T8 and a T2. And I remember that last year because I was rooting him on. I had him and Party Marty, but Party Marty got it done. I mean, I got a lot of interest in Matt Wolff. He looked good last week. He knows his game, and maybe the only thing I could think of is maybe that some of these holes force you to club down. Maybe that's something that helps Matt Wolff. Maybe he's not pulling as many drivers. I don't know what it is, but I love the history here. I love how he looked last week. I think he left a few on the table last week as well. So I'm going to be back on Matt Wolff. Hoop, I like your call on Hoffman. I think he is definitely a fine play. Patrick Reed, I don't know. He's kind of, for me, if people start talking up that narrative as we get closer to Thursday, I'm going to fade him. I'm not if they talk him up, I'm not going to play him. But if he looks like he's going to be lower owned, I might get him in there. We'll see. Most likely what happens is I'll be sipping on some whiskey come Wednesday night, and I'll just be like, nah, F this guy. I'm not going to play Patrick Reed. But Corey Connors, Tringali, and Matt Wolff's where I'm at right now. I'm currently fading Paul Casey, fading Kokrak. Kokrak, he's a bomber off the tee, but he's I'm just torn. When I look at his results here, he has 0 good finishes here, and he's played this course a ton. A cut, T63, 74, T66. For me, it's just I don't know, but I'm probably not going to play him. So for me, I'm going to keep it simple. It's Tringali, it's Matt Wolff, kind of my 1 and 2. Snyder, what are your 1 and 2 in this range?
Yeah, Kokrak's going to be in my number 1, and I'm kind of torn on my second guy. It's either going to be Patrick Reed or either Connors or you guys did sell me a little bit on Tringali. I did look back at his stats. He has improved. He's went 22nd and 11th in his last 2 starts. So definitely looking at him more now. So it's going to be a combination of those. Definitely Kokrak one for me though.
I might one thing I got to do is part of my process I want to implement this year is, I'm not going to be stubborn about my plays. I'm going to do my process, come and do the show, talk to you guys. And you know what? I'm going to let you guys talk me off some of these guys that are on my fave list. So, and Kokrak's a guy that I usually like Kokrak. So let's get hoops 1 and 2 and maybe I'll make that change. We'll see.
Yeah, number 1 for me is going to be Hoffman at the bottom there at 8-1. I just play a lot of them, and he continues to treat me well. And then Tringale is going to be number 2 for me. I feel good about Tringale. I mean, both these guys I play quite a bit, and for the most part, it's worked out well. So I'm going to continue to be on them. So those are my 2 favorites. 7K range. It's a big range. I mean, we have a lot of guys here in the 7K range. So I'm going to kind of more so talk about the guys that I'm going to be on opposed to the ones that I'm going to be fading. One at the top that stands out is another guy that's really mispriced in this field is Mito Pereira at 7.8K, a guy that could easily be in that 8K range. I think he's the real deal. One of those guys last week that we were on very heavy. And like I said, just a middling result. I think he finished somewhere around 30th. If he does that this week last week it was 9-9. This week he's 7-8. If he makes a cut and finishes 30, we're going to be pretty happy about that. Streelman, of course, that should fit him well. 7-8, like him. Maverick, Snyder's boy, 7-7, another guy that's been kind of treating us pretty well. I have a lot of interest in him. Brian Harmon seems like a course that would fit Brian Harmon pretty well. 7-6, definitely fair for him. I think he's another guy that could kind of be in that 8K range and would make a little bit of sense. Ricky Flower, what are we doing here, boys? He's 7.3K.
I got him in the playbook. I haven't put any notes yet, though. I'm excited to see what you guys have to say.
I think I'm joining you. I'm playing this narrative on these guys that had a rough last year, fresh start. Yeah, I mean, if you're on them, definitely have a drink in hand if you're going to play Ricky Flower. Let me tell you that much. But it's the case I've made for a lot of these other guys. 7-3. Coming off an awful year. I mean, awful. I mean, it was such a rapid decline for him. I mean, he was just terrible. Hasn't played in a while. Have to imagine he's, working on his game a little bit. I think this is a good course for him. Can he turn things around and, kind of take advantage of this fresh start? I'm willing to take a chance. I don't think we're talking high ownership on him. I haven't looked at ownership numbers. I can't imagine a lot of people are going to be racing to play Ricky Flower this week. 7.3K, like I said, I'm gonna play a little bit of Flower. If it burns me, it burns me. But I'm gonna play kind of like the fresh start narrative and assume that he's kind of figured out some things in his game in the last couple of months, and he takes advantage of this clean start. So give me some Flower. I'm not going to – I'm going to be actually really fucking pissed if he doesn't make the cut. But I'm going to be on him. Pat Perez, I really like at 7.2K. Play a lot of Perez. I like him. Troy Merritt kind of stands out. This Pendrith dude, 7.1K. I think I'm just going to keep playing him. Another guy, played him last week at a much higher price tag. He's 7.1K. I'm definitely going to be on him. Ian Poulter, 7K. I like myself some Ian Poulter here. Another guy that was really shitty at the Ryder Cup, but just like everyone else on the European team, I'm not putting too much stock into that. Give me some Poulter, and then actually 7K. There's a lot of good dudes I like here. Norlander. Norlander's been playing some solid golf. 7K. Sign me up for Norlander. Then our boy Ches seems like a course that would definitely set up nicely for Ches. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think he was really good with the irons last week and just atrocious putting week. I think I don't know if you guys are aware of that or have the actual numbers on that, but I think I heard that good with the irons, really bad putting. If that's the case, we can forgive him and look to him as well. So a lot of strong plays in this range. Those are kind of the guys that I'm on. I'm just coming through one more time. And like Thigala, I'm guessing we'll get some decent ownership coming off the big week last week. Probably won't be looking to him. Aaron Wise, I think Aaron Wise is one of Snyder's boys, but 7.9K. Maybe I look to him too. But loaded range, a lot of solid guys here.
Yeah, the fresh start narrative is in full swing right now with Ricky Fowler, with Webb Simpson. I love it. You know, in past years, I was laughing. I was looking at Ricky like, you know, good history here, and he's played this a lot. Like, and I'm sure he's come into this event in previous years, like just all chill, having a good time in Vegas. The pressure's on. Like the pressure is definitely on, and he plays better. I mean, I know he has a couple wins in desert tracks, and he just seems like he plays better. So I'm with you there. Snyder, talk to me about the 7K range.
Yeah, I like quite a few of these guys. Some of my favorite golfers are in this range. I'm going to start right off with Aaron Wise. He finished off last season really good, carried it over with a nice finish at the Sanderson Farms last week, finishing 26th, gained nearly 6 strokes total in that event. This Las Vegas narrative, he's got a solid course history as well with a couple top 15 finishes here. He's got really good odds compared to his price. He's sitting at 50-1 odds to win the event, so I like that. Mito's another guy. I mean, I was on him strong. I've been on him this year. He's off to a great start this year. 3rd place finish at the Fortnite. 31st last week at the Sanderson Farms. He's hit over 80% of his greens and regs in both events. So that really sets up well for him here. He lost nearly 5 strokes putting last week, but that was the first time he had lost in 4 events. So I'm just going to write that off. Great tee to green guy, averaging over 3 strokes gained in approach in his last 5 events. He's also listed at 50-1 odds to win this event. So I like his odds there. Streelman, he finished 31st last week. He hit 82% of his greens and reg. Ranks 10th in fairways gained over the last 24 rounds. Solid course history as well, making 5 of his last 7 cuts, highlighted by a 2nd place finish a few years back. My guy Mav, definitely like Mav here. His game's really trending up after that great finish last season. He's started off with a bang here too, finishing 2nd at the Fortinet, gained nearly 14 strokes total in that event. Another Las Vegas golfer here that should be very comfortable here, and he could finally break through with that first win that he's been after. I think it's time to jump back on Brian Harmon as well. He's got a nice price tag here, and he's made his last 5 cuts here, going 13th, 18th, 15th in his last 3 appearances here. So I think it's a good time to jump back on him. He treated us well for the majority of last season, but we kind of had to jump off there at the end. But I think I'm ready to jump back on with him. Thigala is another one of these young guns that I've been targeting. He's off an 8th place finish last week. I have interest in him again. My guy right here, Taylor Moore. I talked about him last week. I expected a bounce back after the kind of the bright lights might have gotten to him in his first PGA event. Bounce back strong for us with a 17th place finish last year. He's my favorite Corn Ferry guy I'm looking to target early and often in this season, so I'm still on him. He's right in that same price range as Fowler, so I'd rather go with him. Just a great guy. I think was a little timid in that first start, but we saw he lost nearly 4 strokes in putting in that first event, but he bounced back good. Liked where he's at. Bramlett, he's another Las Vegas guy here. You can consider some GPPs.
Ooh.
Lucas Glover actually is 2nd in strokes gained total in this event. He's got really good course history here. So it's another guy I'm looking to.
Bramlett's a Vegas guy? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think he's actually living with Mav. He's a roommate with Mav McNeely as well. So you got a little correlation there.
He was the Corn Ferry champion too, right? Bramlett?
I believe so. I'm not for sure, but it sounds familiar.
Yeah, he won the championship. So yeah.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
Very good. I didn't know that about him.
Cool. I mean, I don't mind like Henrik Norlander or Ches possibly. Merritt maybe. Pat Perez, I've been on him quite often to end last season, so I don't mind him as well. I think that's it for me in this 7K range. There's a lot of these young studs I've been on, and I'm going to look to continue attacking them.
So I wasn't going to multi-enter this week, but I think I am because this range is loaded, and I could see many of these guys finish inside the top 10 this week. And so one thing I want to do in my multi-entry builds is maybe like lock in Webb or make a rule that like at least Webb or Willie Z or Answer has to be in the build, but then open up the salary, so the salary constraints, and increase the projection on a lot of these guys in this range, because what will happen is the optimizer will automatically build in some of these guys and they'll leave a bunch of salary on the table because it's not going to be concerned about salary. It's going to be more concerned about the projection and mix and matching these guys, because I think there are a ton of underpriced and very good plays, many of which you guys already mentioned. Mito, Snyder, props to you. There's two guys that you were definitely right about. Mito, I finally got to see him play a little bit. Kid's good. Kid plays really good. And then Maverick McNeely, you've been on this guy for as long as I can remember. And I mean, you sold me. I got him. I think I got him as an RPS tag, and I got him in there before you even did anything. Usually Snyder's in there putting Mav McNeely in there. And then, it used to be I was deleting them, but now, no, he's RPS tag. He's a phenomenal play. His putter's on fire right now. I have a ton of interest in him. I agree. I'm back on Brian Harmon. Ricky Flower, we talked about him. It's just, a fresh start. Bramlett, I just added him. Now that you said that, Snyder, that's a great call. My thing in this range, Lucas Glover. Let me talk about these 7K guys real quick, because there are there are 4, if maybe 5 guys that are all priced 7K that I think are all really good plays. Lucas Glover, I think, is definitely one of my favorite plays. This guy has been a machine here the last 3 times he's played it. A third, a T7, a T9 last year. He just, maybe something about Vegas, who knows? But Lucas Glover, ton of interest in him. Ryan Moore, he's another guy with a ton of very good history here. Ches Reavie, I always love to play him on short courses. He's ranks first in fairways gained. He ranks 5th in good drives gained. He ranks 5th in approach. All 3 things I'm looking at very closely this week. The only concern, the 4th thing I'm looking at is putting. His putter's trending in the wrong direction, but I'm confident he'll get it right for us this week. Ian Poulter, like Hoop mentioned, and then Henrik Norlander, I think are all in play. Sebastian Munoz in the 7K, like all the guys ranked, price 7K is the one guy I'm fading. But I'm not going to go back to Party Marty. He got it done last year, but he's been pretty bad of late, and we can easily get off of him. But I got to say, the one guy I didn't mention because I went straight to Mito and Mav, but Russell Henley is the other guy I like up in this range. Really good course history, very good ball striker, very good approach player. My only concern would be the putting on bent grass, but his course history here is really good. So I'm going to say my favorite plays, I got to say Mito number 1, and then I'm going to say Lucas Glover number 2. But all the plays I mentioned, I'm going to try to be very high on. What was your 1 and 2 in the 7K range?
Definitely gonna go with Mito as being my favorite. I agree with that. I think he's a phenomenal play this week. This range is stacked. I'm gonna go Harmon. I like Harmon at 7-6, a guy that got the job done for us on a frequent occasion last year. I think he does it again this week. So Harmon would be my number 2.
I like that, Snyder. You're 1 and 2, then take us into the 6K range.
Yeah, it's really tough for me ranking these guys this week, but I like Mito 1, and then it's hard for me to make a number 2. It's going to be either Mav, Taylor Moore, or Brian Harmon. They're all kind of tied for me right at this moment, so it's kind of not the answer you're looking for, but that's where I'm at right now. In this 6K range, it's interesting. We got some guys down here with, I think, are really good values here. We got Garrick Higo. He's a UNLV golfer, Vegas guy. He's not in the best of form right now, but maybe a trip back to familiar Las Vegas where he did a lot of college golf and such at can ignite him here. We targeted him some last year. He does have that winning upside in the 6K range, which we don't often find here. He won twice last year, once on the Euro Tour and once on the PGA Tour. So I like having some winning upside in guys in the 6K range. Chad Ramey, he's another popular Corn Ferry Tour guy. Strong with the irons in his first two events, but the rest of his game needs to come around, and then he can really pop for us here. So I may look to take some more stabs on him in some GPPs. Brendan Steele, he ended strong last week in Sanderson Farms, ranked first in strokes gained approach and tee to green in that final round, and it really wasn't close in those two stats. He's got mixed results here, but has hit 72% of his greens in his last two events, so I'll be looking to him. Chesson Hadley, I know you guys are going to be on him. He ranks fourth in strokes gained total over the last 5 years in this event. Missed cut last year, but did have three really good finishes before that, 18th, 7th, and 4th.
Already retweeted him, Snyder. Already retweeted him. I don't know if you saw that, but I did.
Hell yeah. Scott Piercy, he's another guy I really like in this range. Desert golf specialist, solid course history here, 19th, missed cut, 10th, 32nd, 24th, 25th, and a 7th here. Kevin Tway, he's down there at 6.2. I think he's really cheap here. He's got pretty solid course history here too. He didn't miss the cut last year, but his three previous events, he went 29th, 23rd, and 32nd in his 4 trips. I think that's really good value there for that 6.2K price tag if you're looking to spend up a couple times. And that's about it for me in this range at the moment. I'll be kind of leaning on you guys, as I always lean on AP and Hoop in this 6K range. But those are the guys I'm looking at right now.
I could be getting completely dusted this week because there are so many guys I like in this range, which isn't normally the case. But when you look at things like Chesson Hadley, like you mentioned, I mean, his history here is phenomenal. And I mean, when Hoop played with them, you were drinking Hoop, but was he drinking? No, right?
Nope. He was focused on he was focused on the course.
Yeah, and in Vegas, there are guys like I've been to business conferences and stuff, and it's like they're in Vegas, and I was part of the crowd that we got after it. And when we went to our meetings and stuff, it was a disaster. But there are your people that were focused. They were in there studying.
Dude,
in the very front
that's
row.
Taking family pictures on the workbench is not going hard in Vegas. You had nothing to worry about there.
oh man, good stuff. Hoop, talk to us about the 6K range.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a loaded range. I mean, I always love some of these 6K guys, and I mean, a lot of options down here. I'm going to start right at the top. Roger Sloan, done playing a lot of Roger Sloan. He's 6'9". I think he's solid. Doug Gim at 6'9". Made the cut last week, and where did he finish? Probably I'm assuming right in the middle, like all the other guys that I played that made the cut. Maybe even worse. I don't even see him. Oh, yeah, like 58. So he sucked on the weekend, but made the cut. And, he's 6.9K. If he made the cut this week, we'd be happy with it. So have interest in him. Ramey, finally, kind of got the job done last week, made the cut. And I'm assuming it was a middling finish, or maybe even worse than that. He was at the bottom, but made the cut. Maybe he can build on that momentum. It's only 6.8K. Trey Molnex golfed really well last week. 6.6, maybe look to go back to him a little bit there. Oh, Kuchar's in this field. It's, oh my gosh, 6.6. That's crazy. But I do agree with Steele. I do like Steele. Swafford at 6.5, think is interesting. Then we come down, Hank Lebioda. I mean, a guy that was playing really solid golf last season, kind of fell off for a little bit. 6.3K. It's a cheap price tag. I have interest in him. Matt Wallace, played him last week. Disappointed, but I'm going to come back at 6.3. Man, what's the deal with this Grayson Sig guy? I know we were all on him last week. That was painful. What did he shoot? Like 5 over, 6 over? I mean, the course was super easy, and he definitely disappointed. And then Hubbard's kind of the last guy I'm looking at, 6.1K. I do agree with Tway too. Tway at 6.2, maybe a little Wyndham Clark at 6.2, but Hubbard at 6.1, I feel pretty good about. This is, you can come down here, I think, and feel pretty comfortable with some of these guys. I think they're solid plays, and I think it's a solid range. I mean, some weeks we come down here and we want to throw up in our mouths, but other weeks we come down here and we feel good. This is a week that I feel pretty good coming down here.
Yeah, I agree. Just thinking about the past winners here, Party Marty being one of them. Last year, he was a 6K guy, more than 150 plus to 1 odds to win. If you like to put in long shots, there's a good chance a long shot could win this week. I would not be surprised at all to see one of these guys get it done. For me, the interesting thing is Doug Gim. He kind of, he popped like when we weighted our model. I weighted it to be heavy tee to green, fairways gained, approach play, and putting. And Doug Gim in this range really pops. But I always look at Vegas too. He's not popping when you look at Vegas and you look at price. He's 180 to 1. Adam Hadwin, Steven Yeager, or Stefan Yeager, and many of these guys, Nick Watney, they have better odds than Doug Gim, which is really interesting to see. Starting with Hadwin, man, he's really interesting this week. I'm not like a Hadwin guy. He looked good last week. I mean, not bad, T45. But when you look at it, he has good history here. T34, T4 in 2020, T27. So that's his last 3 years he's played this thing, or the last 3 times he's played it. He's only missed 1 cut in his last 5 attempts here. I have some interest in Hadwin. Adam Schenk, I'll go a little bit back to him. He's a good putter. So he hasn't been as good at finding fairways. His approach game is fine. He's a good birdie maker, which is kind of a function of just him being a good putter. And he's made 3 of his last 4 cuts here, and they're all inside the top 25. Actually, T27 last year, T18, T20, and 18, and he missed the cut in 19. So another guy I'll go back to. Stefan Yeager, probably Stefan, I would think, but being a German guy, he's interesting. I know I played him at the Fortinet Championship. He tilted me because he missed the cut, but he looked good last week, and it's hard to ignore the run that he had on the Korn Ferry Tour. T2. Let me pull up his let's see, T2, fourth. He had a second, a fifth. This dude absolutely wrecked the Korn Ferry Tour. I know he's not like a long hitter. I'm looking at his metrics right now. He's a good driver of the golf ball, and he's a good putter. So I'm going to have a little bit of interest in him. Scott Piercy, just a guy who has really good course history here. Another one of those guys that, like, man, he's going to be in a boat to where he's going to be losing his tour card if he's not getting it done in the swing season when the fields aren't as strong. So you got to think that a guy like him is going to be much more motivated. Denny McCarthy, another guy who Snyder, I think he's one of your boys, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
So I mean, in the past, somewhat. You're not going to take him? He win. All right, what if he wins this week? Then he's your boy, right?
I was on him a few times last year, yeah.
So the reason I like Denny is a good putter, and he also has good history here. He had a T9 in 2020, T15 in 19. Just going down this list, Brendan Steele, you guys mentioned him. I love the play. I think he's a really good play. You could have priced him around 7,100, and I would have had interest in him. I think he was that price not too long ago. Chesson Hadley, the history here is good. T18, T7, T4, and he missed the cut last year, but I know he has a new swing coach. He's posting stuff on Twitter. I'm going to have some shares. I'm not going to go all in or anything like that, but I'm definitely going to be overweight the field on Hadley. Another putter that is playing well right now, he's made 3 cuts in a row, which he's not a good cut maker, is Peter Malnati. He has good course history here too. T5 last year, a T15 in 2019. There are so many guys down here, 7K range included, that could win this event this week. So it's going to be really interesting. If you're multi-entering, if you're building 150, I think you got to lock in, or you got to go extremely overweight a couple of players. But then I think what you can do is open up the player pool and include a bunch of these guys. A few more I like. Nate Lashley, 6,400. Lashley going into last year, I don't think a lot of people are going to know this. Let me look at my note. He was kind of in it, and then he shot like a 77 or something on the final day and finished like T52. So a lot of people are going to overlook that. His putter is trending in the right direction. He's got a T17 and a T16 in his last 2 events. And this course sets up like the course that he won, which was a birdie fest, and which was the event where he wasn't DFS eligible. The one last guy I got to mention is Nick Watney. So Nick Watney, and I think this story might get out. I was reading it on the golf. I was listening to on the Golf Channel. I'm not that familiar with what it is, but it was like his final exemption. I think it was because he earned so much money on tour. He had this all-time earned money list exemption that he used so he could play one more year. He's basically fighting for his tour card this year. So, and he got a second place finish last week. He rode a hot putter. He gained almost 12 strokes putting, but this is a putting event. Maybe he's found something in that putter. I'm going to have a few shares of Nick Watney this week. Vegas is also giving him some respect, 150-1. And I believe he lives in Vegas too. So if you didn't know that, I mean, this is probably a course that he's just, I don't know. I mean, he's got to do well here. So just thinking through here, the notebook play, man, I can't make it Hadley. I got to go. So I'm between Nate Lashley and Nick Watney. I got to go Nate Lashley. Nate Lashley has won recently. We know he's a good ball striker. We know he's good at finding fairways, and we know that he can get hot. So Nate Lashley is going to be my guy. I like how he looked at the Fortinet Championship. I like how he looked at Sanderson Farms. And then the putting curve I'm looking at, man, it's just sharply going up, and which is what we want to see. So Nate Lashley is going to be my notebook value play of the week. And I think he's going to be, like 1%, 2% owned, very, very low owned. Snyder, give us your 1 and 2 in this range.
I think I'm going to go Scott Piercy 1, and then it's tough. I'm going to go Brandon Steele 2.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah.
You're 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's a loaded range for sure. I'm gonna go Hank the Tank number 1, and then my boy Roger Sloan number 2.
All right, I like that. Let's go on to our winners. Let's pick 2. Snyder, I'm going to start with you. Who do you think is going to win this week?
You want like a long shot or just straight out?
Outright. It's like one where you're not as concerned about the odds, and then longer shot.
Okay, I'm gonna go Scotty Scheffler, I think, for my winner this week. Not looking at odds, and then if I'm gonna roll down the board here, I'm gonna go Matt McNeely, 60-1.
I like that. Kick it over to you.
Yeah, I'm going to go relatively high up top. Abe Answer. I like Abe Answer this week. I think he finds his way into the winner circle, if not him. The next guy is going to be Brian Harmon. I think Brian Harmon gets it done for us. He's shown the ability to contend. So it's either going to be Abe or Brian Harmon.
I like that. Brian Harmon is a really good call. And he's 55-1. I think this is a good week to spread a few bets around. For me, I'm going to go with Siwoo Kim up top, which is kind of a rare winner's call for me. I know I'm going to be very overweight on Webb. 45-1 with how he's playing right now. I think the odds are too good. And then I'm going to go Lucas Glover, 100-1. Lucas Glover won the John Deere. He's missed 3 cuts since then. He's made 3 cuts. Party Marty won last year. Here, an old guy can win. I'm gonna say Lucas Glover gets it done in the desert. Snyder, you got any final thoughts this week?
No, I played a little lighter last week, but there's so many guys I want to play this week, especially in that cheaper range. So I think I'm going to be doing a little more MME in this week, like probably playing 50 to 100 lineups, depending on what I need to play to get the exposure I want to some of these guys. But I definitely like this event a lot more than last week's events. It should be a fun event there out in Las Vegas. I'll be looking forward to the rest of the stuff we got going on this week too, with NFL, college football, and all of that. I can't wait for the fun weekend.
We got a great question in chat and Hoop. I'm gonna read what this guy said. I'm gonna have you answer it because you got.
I was just responding. I'm pretty sure I was just responding.
Okay. Revokes.
Yeah.
Revokes. Our guy Revokes in chat. Shout out to you, my man. Is there a package you can get that covers all sports at Run Pure Sports? Hoop, I'm asking you that question.
No, let me think of the best way to answer this question. There's not a package that doesn't include every sport. So basically all our packages include every single sport on the site. So if you do a monthly package, you do a weekly package, you do an annual package, it includes every sport, including Showdown, everything you can possibly need. And that's, the biggest way that we're different than everyone else in the industry. They charge you per sport. NBA starting in 2 weeks, they're going to charge you another $350, $400. Everything at Run Pure Sports falls under the same umbrella, one price for every sports, most reasonable deal, I think, in the industry by far, best content. But yeah, it's everything included for one price. So, and right now we got the 25% off. If you want to try your first month, use the promo code RPS Heater 25, and that will get you 25% off any monthly package that you do choose.
That was perfect. I don't think we can add anything else to that. I think that was phenomenal. I'm looking forward to this week. It should be a fun week. We got NFL right around the corner. We got shows every day for NFL. We're doing Showdown playbooks and content for throughout the World Series. I was just looking at that. I saw Boston is having their way with the Yankees. I know a buddy of mine. He's running the Boston Marathon, which is Monday. And then I think he's told me if Boston wins, he's going to be able to go to a playoff game. So I know he's going to be happy, but I'm not, because I stacked up the Yankees and I played Garrett Cole is what it is. He didn't get it done. But yeah, we got NFL content, everything coming out this week, college football. We got NBA right around the corner. We're covering preseason. We're covering everything, as Hoop said, one price, one package. You can pay it however you want, monthly, weekly. Another thing too, you can win your money back. We got this massive free roll every week. We're putting that in over $1,000 ourselves. DraftKings is matching us. It's a tournament of champions. Make sure you get into it. I don't think it's filled completely yet this any week that we've had. So make sure you get into it. If you win, you have a chance to win the Tournament of Champions with a full year of Run Pure Sports for free, a big top prize, and a lot of other stuff that goes along with it. So, with that, guys, I think we can get out of here. With Snyder, with Hoop, I'm AP. Simon, get us out of here.